The idea of concern with the uncontrollable is a fundamental principle within Stoic philosophy, reflecting an emphasis on distinguishing between what is within our control and what is not. This approach is particularly highlighted in the teachings of Stoic philosophers such as Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius. What is within your control, according to the Stoics? The only things we have direct control over are our own actions, choices, and attitudes. This includes how we respond to events and circumstances in life. What is not within your control, on the other hand, external factors, events beyond your power to influence, and the actions of others are outside your control. This encompasses everything from the weather and others' opinions to social and political situations that are beyond your direct sphere of influence. The goal is to direct your energy and focus towards what is under your control, accepting with serenity what is beyond it. Excessive concern with things beyond your control is seen as futile and prone to generate anxiety, stress, and emotional suffering. Practicing this Stoic perspective doesn't mean being indifferent or passive in the face of life's challenges. On the contrary, it means recognizing the limitations of personal control and concentrating efforts on what can be changed. Taking constructive actions instead of getting lost in fruitless concerns. The Stoic approach to excessive desire for material things is rooted in the belief that true happiness and contentment cannot be attained through the accumulation of material possessions. This perspective is central to Stoic philosophy and reflects an emphasis on virtue, wisdom, and emotional self-sufficiency as the true foundations of a good life. Here are some key points about this Stoic principle. Material detachment. Stoics argue that the unrestrained pursuit of material goods often leads to emotional dependence and an endless pursuit of momentary pleasures. Instead of finding lasting satisfaction, a person may find themselves trapped in an endless cycle of insatiable desires. Virtue as the source of happiness. True happiness, according to the Stoics, lies in practicing virtue, cultivating qualities such as courage, justice, wisdom, and temperance is considered more meaningful than the pursuit of material wealth. Appreciation of simple things instead of focusing on expensive and extravagant possessions. Stoics value the appreciation of simple things in life. This can include meaningful relationships, moments of tranquility, the beauty of nature, and practicing gratitude for what one already possesses. Understanding transitoriness. Stoics emphasize the ephemeral and transient nature of material possessions, recognizing that life is fleeting and material things are temporary, can help diminish the importance attributed to these elements in the pursuit of happiness. Emotional self-sufficiency. By reducing the desire for material goods, Stoics seek to develop emotional self-sufficiency. This means finding internal contentment that doesn't depend on external circumstances or the acquisition of objects. Practicing this Stoic viewpoint can lead to a more balanced life, less centered on consumerism and more focused on intrinsic values. It doesn't necessarily imply living ascetically, but finding a healthy balance between material needs and the pursuit of a meaningful and ethical life. The Stoic approach is seeking approval from others highlights the importance of cultivating an internal source of satisfaction and authenticity, rather than excessively relying on external validation. Here are some key points about this principle. Personal authenticity. Stoics argue that true happiness comes from living according to your own principles and values, rather than constantly seeking approval from others. This involves being authentic and true to oneself, instead of shaping life according to external expectations. Emotional independence. The incessant pursuit of external approval can create emotional dependence on others for one's own happiness. Stoics emphasize the importance of developing emotional autonomy, where joy and contentment are not dictated by what others think or say. Focus on personal values instead of pursuing popular approval or constantly pleasing others. Stoics encourage the identification and cultivation of personal values. This means prioritizing what is genuinely meaningful to you, even if it may differ from societal expectations. Acceptance of non-approval, recognizing that it won't always be possible to please everyone and that the universal pursuit of approval is an impossible task, is an essential part of this Stoic principle. Accepting non-approval from some is an essential part of the path to authenticity. Focus on internal control. Approval from others is outside our direct control. Focusing on controllable aspects, such as our actions, attitudes, and values, allows Stoics to find a sense of fulfillment that doesn't depend on external validation. Constructive criticism. Instead of seeking blind approval, Stoics value constructive criticism. Accepting helpful feedback can be a way to grow personally, but this should be done judiciously without compromising fundamental values. The Stoic principle related to the fear of failure or success is grounded in accepting the inevitabilities of life, such as success and failure, and the need to act according to one's principles regardless of these outcomes. Here are some important points about this theme. Acceptance of failure and success. Stoics acknowledge that both failure and success are natural parts of life. Understanding that both experiences are part of the normal course of events allows the individuals to prepare to face challenges and celebrate achievements without being dominated by fear. Emotional detachment. Stoics value a degree of emotional detachment from external outcomes. This doesn't mean being indifferent to goals or performance, but rather recognizing that these things don't completely define one's identity or value as a person. Learning from failure instead of fearing failure. Stoics view this experience as an opportunity for learning. Each setback can provide valuable lessons and be an opportunity for personal growth. Accepting failure as part of the process allows for a more constructive and resilient approach. Equanimity and success. Similarly, Stoics encourage equanimity in the face of success. Not allowing success to inflate the ego or lead to arrogance is crucial. Maintaining humility and a sense of higher purpose helps ensure that success is kept in perspective. Focus on ethical action. The core of this principle is the emphasis on ethical action, regardless of the outcome, instead of being paralyzed by the fear of failure or success. Stoics suggest making decisions based on ethical principles and doing what is right, irrespective of the consequences. Challenge the status quo. The fear of failure is often linked to the fear of stepping out of one's comfort zone. Stoics encourage the courage to challenge the status quo and pursue meaningful goals, even if it involves risks. Emphasis on authenticity. Rather than pursuing goals defined by external expectations, Stoics promote authenticity. Setting your own goals based on personal values helps overcome the fear of success based on external standards. The Stoic principle related to excessive judgment of others highlights the importance of avoiding hasty assessments, cultivating acceptance of differences, and developing empathy to understand others. Perspectives. Here are some important aspects of this theme. Avoiding hasty judgments. Stoics emphasize the need to resist the impulse to make quick and superficial judgments about others. Recognizing the complexity of people and situations is essential for a more complete and fair view. Practicing empathy instead of giving in to judgment. Stoics promote the practice of empathy. This involves striving to understand others' emotions, experiences, and perspectives. Empathy contributes to deeper connection and a broader understanding of human complexities. Acceptance of differences. Stoics acknowledge that each person is unique with their own experiences, values, and challenges. Accepting differences is a crucial step to overcome excessive judgment and cultivate an environment of mutual respect. Emotional detachment. The Stoics emphasize the importance of emotional detachment when dealing with resentment. This involves not allowing the actions of others to have a lasting impact on emotions. By adopting a more distant and objective perspective, it is possible to reduce the emotional power of resentment. The virtue of forgiveness. Forgiveness is seen as a virtue by the Stoics. Not only forgiving others, but also forgiving oneself, recognizing that everyone is fallible, including oneself, and letting go of feelings of resentment contributes to a calmer and more centered mind. Long-term vision. The Stoics suggest a long-term vision on dealing with resentment instead of focusing on immediate negative emotions. It is beneficial to consider the long-term impact of these emotions. Maintaining a gaze towards the future helps direct energies toward personal growth and the pursuit of a more meaningful life. Cultivation of gratitude. A Stoic approach to overcoming resentment involves cultivating gratitude. Focusing on things for which you are grateful in life can shift attention away from negative feelings and promote a more positive perspective. Acceptance of reality. Accepting reality as it is, even when dealing with harmful actions of others, is an essential Stoic practice. This does not mean agreeing or justifying such actions, but rather recognizing that they have occurred and choosing how to respond constructively. Development of emotional resilience. The development of emotional resilience is a Stoic goal. Accepting that life will bring challenges and that one can learn to recover from these adversities contributes to a greater ability to deal with resentment in a healthy way. Seeking advice and guidance. The Stoics also recognize the value of seeking advice and guidance from mentors, friends, or even philosophical texts. Conversations with others can offer valuable insights and strategies for overcoming resentment. Silence as a control tool. In some situations, the Stoics suggest that silence can be a powerful tool to control resentment. avoiding impulsive reactions and taking time to reflect before responding can lead to a more measured approach. Ultimately, the Stoic approach to resentment involves a combination of acceptance, emotional control, continuous learning, and a focus on virtues. By incorporating these principles, Stoics seek to create a foundation for a more serene life centered on virtue, even in the face of adversity.